I forgot. I forgot I didn't. Well, you know what? We're gonna watch it again. And with that out of the way, I bid you all a good evening! Hello there, everyone. My name's Shirafasev. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club, the very large enjoyer of all things gaming, wrestling, other... I can't, Marshall. Already we are off the fucking rails. Already we're off the fucking rails here. No, you will not get me! You won't get me! Please give me serotonin, I need it.
Let's go. Hurry.
Oh, Marshall, you suck.
Or maybe
Damn.
you owe me $10.
You planned on being on the... You know what? Good point. It really is the most unserious... It really is the most unserious intro. Hold on. Before we continue, I need to mute this before it plays again. Listen, chat. Just in case you missed it the first time. What's the fun of being on the rails on the crazy train? It's wickedly light, chat. That right there was a photo from my famous, family vacation with my long mom, and apparently she fucking tells me that is how women if you look like that hit me up. My mom tells me that that's how I come to be, but listen, I know that was just a commercial. I know that was just a commercial for, like, an orange drink that you can find in France, alright? I know that she wasn't being serious about that. I know she wasn't. I know she was just, kidding around, right, chat? Right? Right, Marshall? Right? Hey, DJ Pone with the 100 bits, thank you very much. Totally. Oh, and also, thank you very much to Sage for the resub. You've been sub for 3 months in a row. Thank you very much, my friend. Really, really appreciate your support. Let's go back to the fucking sharing screen, because I need to introduce my friend here who wanted to join us tonight for our antics. What's your name? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Melody Small. I exist.
They do exist. And you know what? They also made a really cool thing for me not too long ago. And I love it still. because listen, I'm obsessed with Shining Wizard, as we all know. You know? As we all know, I'm obsessed with my own OC, as is anyone with a pulse. They made him.
Oh god, he's big.
Oh, yeah. He's a little too big. Hold on. I'll tell you what, chat. Both me and Marshall's pronouns are he, because we'll never be him. You know? We will never ever be him. And how can you be? Look at him. If you aren't, make a better... I like the pony design. Dude! Marshall did our fucking boy up here, you know? They really did it. You know what? He does have massive himbo energy. Like, the more you look at him, he does look like he would be a himbo. Yes. I mean, like, look. He already likes wrestling, so, you know, he's already, like, 50% of the way there. But maybe he's 100%. I'll see once I actually write his backstory. Hopefully at some point this year. But no. You know what? I'll say it for, like, the 5th time. Thank you, Marshall.
No problem.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Anyways, if you aren't, make a. How do you do, fam? Five head. If you aren't, make a better OC. Wait, what now? What now? What are you saying, Soul? What you saying? What you saying to me? Hold on. I'm gonna put on background music because I don't like just kind of talking. I don't like talking in silence. It throws me off. If you no. Oh. If you aren't obsessed. Oh yeah, 100%. like if you aren't obsessed with your own
saying
OC,
that the rest of us needs to up our OCs.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta like up your OC a little bit, homunculus. I've been seeing your little Cheeto sonas, or your little as you like to call them, Cheetonas. And you know what? They're a little mid. They're a little mid, my friend. You gotta step it up. You gotta step it up.
Come on, you can't be like that. You'll throw the drive away.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll give him this. Listen. I'll try to spark a little bit of inspiration for you, homunculus. I challenge you. Okay? I challenge you, and this is not like a demand, this is a friendly challenge. I want you to make a Cheeto Sona out of the Bag of Bones variant.
Oh goodness.
You need to make a Bag of Bones variant of your Cheeto Sonas. Otherwise, what are you doing? I mean, you gotta give it, like, the fun shapes, too. You know? You gotta connect... You gotta do what old Chester's doing here and combine all of them and then fucking name them. Now that is where the money... Now that's where the money's at. That's where the money is at. Yeah, thank you for the 100 bits, DJ Pone. I appreciate it. Let me get a drink of water here.
I'm no
real quick.
Michelangelo, but I will do my best.
That's all anyone can ask of you, my friend. That's all anyone can ask. I look forward to the results. Although I don't know how you're gonna find them before Halloween. I mean, if you want to, we'll fucking go to Walmart and I'll help you find them. I'm sure they got some in the back. I mean, like, these fucking things can probably last a nuclear holocaust. So, with that in mind, they probably got like 5 or so bags in the back if they haven't thrown them out already. Anyway, how are you doing, Marshall? How are you doing today?
I'm suffering cold, but I'm trying to do things.
You're trying to just... You're trying to just be, today?
Yeah.
You know what, that's really all anyone can ask from you. That's all anyone can ask sometimes. And you know what? I'm glad you're here tonight. Because tonight, we got something a little special. No. Oh yeah. Stores love throwing away food. I should know. I worked at Kroger for like 8 months. I saw them throw shit away all the time. So, yeah. But listen, I can go onto the Kroger website. In fact, let's fucking go onto the Kroger website right now. Oh no, it's not available. Shit. Okay, well, how about Walmart?
Hello, Mario.
Hey there, Defender. How you doing? Wait, what are these? Cheetos. Wait, are these just the hands? I didn't even know they made these. Good Smile Company is releasing a Freddy Fazbear Nendoroid. What are those?
Little figures.
Oh. Are they kind of like U2's figures or something?
Kinda.
Oh.
Without that weird little marking.
Oh. and without like YouTube micro celebrities, too. Yeah. Why is there just a random photo of CG fucking Chester Cheetah. That's horrifying. Homunculus. Would you go to Midwest Fur Fest dressed as him? Or would you just go dressed as yourself? Because, you know, he's pretty horrifying. But you yourself are also pretty horrifying. Nendoroids are basically Funko Pops with more articulation and more expensive.
I've done a couple of them. Actually, no, I only have one of them. What am I saying? I have a few Funko Pops. I only have one Nendoroid.
I had a couple Funko Pops. I had one of like Rainbow Dash, right? And that was a fun one. I had one of Rocket Raccoon, which I couldn't get to stand up right ever. And I also had one of Mr. Meeseeks, but the fucking legs on him were so like thin that he would always just tip over because of his massive head, and within a week one of the legs broke. So
Oh goodness.
needless to say, I didn't invest in Funko Pops much more after that. You know what? Yeah, that's a pretty based reaction on Funko Pops, Soul. That sums up my feelings on that whole situation right there with the vom emote. I have one Nendoroid. Can't confirm that it's pretty expensive. Let's go ahead and check them out. Let's go ahead and check them out real quick before we get going here. Oh.
Oh god, I made a Minions.
What the fuck? Minions feels so out of place amongst everything else here. This right here is like... Okay, so chat. Have you ever heard of Kappa Mikey? That's what this makes me think of. This shit here makes me think of Kappa Mikey. Because, like, it's all of this, like... It's like the American cartoon thing interspersed with all the anime shit. It's, like, really, really weird. It's really strange. So, like, is this all there is? Let me see here.
Hello, Mario.
Oh god, Kappa Mikey! Yes! Yes! I'm so glad I found someone that fucking remembers it. Kappa fucking Mikey resides in, like, the nether regions of my brain. I have one Funko Pop because apparently I'm impossible to buy gifts for and it just sits in the way. Like it hides in shame. Hide in shame. As one would say. It's
Mario.
and then suddenly Mario. This right here is VTuber collabs, alright? No, actually, wait, hold on, where the fuck is the Minions? Give me a second, I need to find them again. Hey, look, out in the street. Don't you see the man? It's Kappa Mikey. Hello. Oh my god, it really is Hello Mario. Hello Mario. This right here is VTuber collabs. Here. You get like Anime Girl, the Mario one is insane. LOL, it is. You know what? I need to put Hello Mario on my soundboard anytime we see Hello Mario. Anytime we just see Mario in the wild. Now this is pod racing. It is pod racing right here. Hold on. There's gotta be like Star Wars stuff here. I mean, like, it's a fucking website that's full of like little figurines for like nerdy franchises. Surely I mean, look at that. It's got Ninja Turtles. Surely Star Wars is here somewhere. Cookie Monster. Okay. Holy fuck, there's so much. There's so much. Shantae got one too. Even Stan Lee got one. I know damn well there's a Han Solo and Darth Vader Nendo. Well, listen, I need to find it then. I need to find it. Of course we have Attack on Titan. I'm noticing what the primary demographic of this is. SpongeBob! What? Hi, how are ya? Indeed. You got light Yagami above SpongeBob SquarePants. I love Fortnite. And also Hamtaro. Oh my god. Oh god, not the Spunk Bob. SpongeBob! This is Fortnite in hell. Wow. Oh. Oh, and also Undyne.
Hello, Mario.
Sans is also in there somewhere.
What now? What now?
I think Sans is also in there somewhere.
Oh my god, you know what? You know what? If fucking Undyne is here, then 100% Sans is, yes. Also, hello there, hello there, Skalinsky. How are you doing? Sit! Snaz. There he is!
I knew it. Why is it so close up?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, exactly. Like, why is he so close up? Hey, you bought Undyne yet? Well, if you haven't, that's a good thing, because now you can buy me.
Oh my.
He fucking would say that, too.
Yeah.
He fucking would say that. This is so insane. What? Okay, so it looks like he has a variant, too. It look.
Oh, the hot dog. I'm kidding.
What now?
He had a hot dog.
He's got the hot dogs. Oh my god. Wait. There's Papyrus as well. Hold on. I need to find Papyrus as well. The legend himself. Big ass head. We even have Persona 1s, even Persona 2 1s. Really? Well, surely Mona needs to have one, right? Of course, we have Aang. We have Korra. Hey, there's Papyrus. Holy crap, these really are expensive. Like, these are averaging around, like, the mid-50s in dollars. We have Aloy. Let's see here. Hey, look at that. There's
Hello,
Persona
Mario.
3. Hey, Ashley, how you doing? It's time to empty the island of the non-believers. Exactly. Remember? They remember Persona 2? Wild. Yeah, exactly. I don't even think Atlas remembers Persona 2 sometimes. Of course, we have Hatsune Miku.
They did Aqua wrong.
Wait, where? Where?
The one that looks like they're tripping. Why'd they choose that preview for her?
In the anime series
I know Silva.
comes a re-release of the Nendo droid of the beautiful goddess that can also be rather ditzy, Aqua.
Yeah.
See, whenever I think of Aqua, I think of Kingdom Hearts. So when you said Aqua, this was not what I was picturing in my head. I own that Aqua. Do you? See, like, again, like, I'm looking at this and I am seeing that this is This is mostly not what I would buy. But, you know what? Maybe I would. Maybe I would. I mean, I might buy the ruby stuff here. This looks cool. Ah, hey, Persona 4. Wait, Isabel? A giraffe step, Nendroid win. You know what? How much do I need to pay to make that happen? because looking at these, I think that'd be sick as fuck, honestly. Most of mine were free. Ah, Isabel, my favorite Attack on Titan character. Okay, but like, now I'm just like envisioning her like with, like as the size of the Titan and like eating the non-believers, you know? Hey, Ralsei. Good boy. I don't know, chat. I'm going down the rabbit hole now. Like I want to see what all is here. Even though I only recognize like a tenth of it. Okay, now we're getting into the stuff that I have no knowledge of.
Yeah.
I haven't one yet. I need them to create one. Would you like them to create more Shantae? Listen. Wait, Patrick! Hey, SpongeBob! I'm a Funko Pop. There was one on the earlier page. Was there? Oh shit. We've already been streaming for half an hour. What? Holy shit.
Damn.
Oh hey, there's Endeavor. Yeah, I've been scrolling a little fast. So, wait, Marty McFly? What? This seems a little out of place.
Hello, Mario.
Wait, Invincible. Hey, thank you for fucking joining tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. I play games sometimes. Marty, like whenever I see something that's like of a Western property amongst all of this, like amongst all the anime, I'm just thinking like, how much crossover is there? You know? Like how much like crossover in like the nerddom is there between My Hero and fucking Back to the Future? Because like with My Hero and Invincible, I can get that. What about those guys up there, though? What about them? Also, yes, that is Poppy's Playtime, or rather Poppy's Playhouse. Wait, is it Playhouse or Playtime?
Playtime. It's Playtime.
Oh, Playtime. Okay. Why is Poppy's Playtime so, like, ubiquitous? But I've never seen anybody talk about them. Ever. Like, I don't see anyone talk about it. Okay, but she's the GOAT, though. They even made a, Nendoroid of Goku's Japanese VA. Oh, what? Like, they made one of the voice actress? Hey, my ordinary life. Oh! Chat!
Hello,
I need
Mario.
this! I need this one in particular! Sorry, Marsh.
No, you.
I need this one! I need Best Girl, alright? I need this more than anything. Cause it's an unhinged kids horror IP, and you have to be in the rabbit hole to hear about it. But like doesn't Five Nights at Freddy's already fill that gap? Right? No, she's not. Kasumi is not enhancement talent. You're enhancement talent. Actually about to throw up seeing the Kasumi Nendo droid. I need it. I need this more than most things. Show me a Yusuke figure, then we'll talk. Spamton. Is this Elden Ring? Okay. Alexander the Pot. Oh, hey, what? This seems wildly out of place. But, you know what? I want it. I want it, Marshall. Not gonna lie.
It's adorable.
Look at him! Look at him. He's good. I like him. Boxo. Bo. There's a How to Train Your Dragon show. Makes sense. Well, yeah. Like, I know that. Oh, hey, Joker. Nice. At this point, we're just looking at these fucking Funko Pop. Knuckles! Let's fucking go, chat. My fucking interests are intertwining again. They're intertwining. Once more. Why are there so many, like, different versions of these here? Like, can you...
Oh, those are interchangeable parts.
Oh, because you can customize them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that the only... Wait, Knuckles is the only one?
There's no way. What?
Knuckles doesn't make jokes, chat. He makes warriors. As he said in his new show trailer. Now, with that, chat, we're gonna actually get going on this bullshit, but first, we need to play an ad. Thank you to everyone who has friggin' joined us so far. We will get going here in a few seconds, but I need to appease Father Bezos. Raw rolls on after this.
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Listen, if you're gonna get mad at anyone, you gotta get mad at Father Bezos. Because he's the one that makes these rules, not me. If I had it my way, I would have no ads. I would just fucking do this. I'd go in raw. But...
The ad already started.
No, I know. I'm driving home. I'll be back. Okay, Soul. Okay. But yeah. Marsh, when we come back out, I have a little story to tell that, like, I've already told you. But... you probably know what I'm getting at.
Kind of.
It's the work story I told you about the other day.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh boy.
I have the best story of all time for chat.
Yes.
the greatest. And the hedgehog's name is Knuckles. I'd rather fist my knuckles. It ain't hard to Knuckles. It actually played an ad on me. Did it play John Cena with Honda?
I got a Little Caesars ad.
Ew.
It's the one with the giant PB&J person.
What?
Yeah, they've been doing this.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my
For
dudes.
their new
Welcome back to
combination thing. And it just includes this giant PB&J sandwich guy.
Are they, like, making peanut butter and jelly pizza?
No, the PB&J guy is betrayed because the dude got the pizza and stick stuff.
So, like, they're starting a civil war over pizza sticks, is what you're saying?
They're acting like it's a breakup.
Oh. Well, you know, I've been out of the out of the romance scene for a while, so really I don't know what is worth breaking up over, but in my head, that seems about as good a reason as any. Anyways, welcome back to Raw, everyone. We're gonna get going here, because tonight's Animal Crossing night is not just any old night of Animal Crossing. Tonight it's serious. It's serious business here tonight, chat, because listen, you and I, we watched a bunch of Japanese women's wrestling last night, and that was fun. That was quirky. It was very fun to have my good friend, the Ariona, on here to help guide me through the wacky and exciting world of Joshi wrestling. But tonight, it's all business, baby, because we are going to evict my island. We're gonna cleanse it. We're gonna clean it out of all of the stinky paw people so that we can make room for the hooved hombres y mujeres. So, that is what we're doing tonight. However, I know that this game tends to run a little slow. So, what's probably gonna end up happening is we're probably just gonna be running around and hitting people with a fucking butterfly net for however long it takes. So we'll be breaking it up with a few other things as we go throughout tonight. Such as a bit of a story. Which I'll... What? Ow!
Oh.
I still want to make more of these. Because I genuinely think they're, like, incredibly fun. This is awesome. Animal Crossing still isn't fucking loaded? Jesus. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, mine's been taking a lot longer lately ever since I upgraded the SD card in it.
You would think that it would be faster. Then.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that can happen sometimes if you don't play your Switch for like a good while, because me and a work friend, like, we tried to play Smash recently, and it took like 30 seconds to get from menu to menu, like a good solid 30 seconds, and a good solid and a good like 3 minutes to like load up the game in general. But like, once we played a few matches, it's like the Switch woke up, right? Like the Switch woke up and it realized, oh hey, we're playing Smash Brothers, okay, and suddenly everything was faster.
The Switch was EP.
Yeah, it was very EP, and you know what? It has a right to, because I don't really play the Switch all that much. So
I'm still trying to work on the new Pokemon DLC.
I would like to play Pikmin 4 on this, but I do not have it yet because today I bought Sonic Superstars, finally. And that will be my next game that I play on my own. And I won't be streaming it, much like how I won't be streaming Sonic and Shadow Generations, because even though I like those games, you know, I kind of want to keep the Sonic stuff as just kind of like a thing that's all mine. So...
Yeah.
Hey, I wish you all good fortune and happiness. Right now on this land, it is 3:47 p.m. on Saturday. I have an event announcement to share today. The day after tomorrow, February 12th, we'll be celebrating Festival. Get those...
Oh, gee.
Oh, it's Festivale.
That's
get
what
those,
I think it is.
Get
But it
those,
sounds more right, sorry.
a little bit, but like, you know, I see Veil.
Yeah.
No Sonic for Chow. Ow. Damn it. You gotta get those dance moves ready. That's all for today. Have a fun day out there. While I stay warm in here. Oh, don't worry, Isabel. I'll be very busy out here.
Funny, because the dress that they put for the Festivale stuff is not fitting for the winter weather that the island still holds. It's fine for the southern hemisphere, but not for us.
Raph, why are you so adorable?
Oh, Tammy.
It's a pretty good question, isn't it? Animal Crossing wrestling game. Hire me, Nintendo. You're just super cute, and TBH, I want to cuddle you. Listen. Hugging the long boy is free. Alright? I take serotonin, boops on snoot, and hugs around neck. 24/7, 365. Ayo, is that
Spare serotonin, please.
Melodious Pone? Is Melody Small? My very cool friend. Aw, thank you for the serotonin, Melody.
Oh, I guess you're one of the people that don't know my new name yet.
I do. You know what? If I don't, then that is. Then that's not on purpose.
No, not you. The one in chat.
Oh.
Is that an elephant? Yeah, it is an elephant.
He doesn't get to stay. So.
I know.
He doesn't have hooves. He has big feetsies. And those are not hooves. Wait. Oh, fuck. That was like a little roller beetle guy.
Oh, you're gonna get rid of Audie?
Yeah.
Aw.
In fact, you know what? Before we start getting rid of people, I may as well go and do my daily activities. Such as sell my shit, for one thing. Two toes, sweet! The Hofer Club. No, it's the Long Boy Club. It's the fucking Long Boy Club. I say it every time. Melody is amazing horse, says Sage.
Is that Julian?
That is Julian. He gets to stay, though.
Hey, the unicorn.
Okay. The Long Boy Club LLC. Patent pending. Large snowflake. Weeds.
You should keep the snowflakes. They're good for some DIY stuff.
Ooh, okay. I can craft chests, right?
Crap, what?
Chests. Like, to put things in.
No, because all that stuff just goes into your house storage. And the house storage is pretty big.
Oh. I am Pool Noodle in the, Discord if you need...
Wait, what? I don't need simping, I have phosphor for that.
Let's maybe, keep that to the side, my friend. Let's maybe keep that to the side. I don't know who Pat is and pending, but Nito Burrito. I don't know who Pat is and pending. But Nito Burrito. But no, chat. I have a fun story for all of you, right? And that story is, and this is something I already told Melody here. But I need to tell you all about the time that one of my coworkers almost got arrested this week. And of course I won't say their name, I won't say their title because I don't want to make them, I don't know, feel bad or unsafe. But it's just so crazy that it needs to be told. So, my coworker, let's just call her Tara. All right. Tara. she was out doing some like work off-site, right? And on her way back, I heard on the police scanner because at my job, we actually have a scanner that like helps us listen in on what the police are doing. And it said that they were pulling someone over on like the street that my coworker was on. Rather that's Tara was on. And I was like, you know, telling everyone else in the office, what if that's Tara, right? And sure enough, we got like a text from like the person she was riding with saying, got pulled over, guess who was speeding?
Hello, Mario.
And my jaw hit the floor. Yeah, let's call her terrorizing because she's terrorizing a residential neighborhood by speeding through it. Hello, Morning Keeps. I'm telling the story about how my coworker almost got arrested this week. But no, apparently that wasn't even the worst of it. There were like this is like a 4-tiered thing, right? Because Tara got pulled over for speeding. And then, and she also got pulled over because the license plates on the company car, they were out of date. And you know what? To be honest, that was the company's fault. That was not Tara's fault. But you know, that's bad thing number 2. Bad thing number 3. Tara didn't have her license on her either.
Oh.
So, not only was she speeding, she didn't have her license on her either. And so she was about to be super fucked. But that's not even the best part, right? That's not even the best part, chat. Do you want to know what the best part is? The best part is that she was about to be ultra fucked because she already had a warrant out for her arrest. She already had a warrant out from her arrest out on another from another state, right? And and she was gonna go back to that state this weekend to see family, right? Now, you may be wondering to yourself, what happened to Tara? Did she get did she get placed behind bars that night? Did she have to, you know, pay like a speeding ticket? No. There were no repercussions. She got a warning from the police. And then she was off. And then off she went. I'm not making this up, chat. I could not make up something half as crazy if I tried. You know? She had 4... She was about to catch 4 charges. You know? 4 charges! And she caught none of them! She caught 0 charges! Even though the situation she was in, she was super fucked, you know? She was like ultra boned at that moment in time, and the police were like, that's fine. And the best thing, I mean, there are like 3 fucking best things about this, but this right here is the last and final best thing. When Tara came back to the office, what do you think she was like? Do you think, I mean, like, you know what? Imagine yourself in her position, right? You're about to catch 4 fucking charges, and yet you get none. How do you think you feel in that moment in time? Would you feel shaken? Would you feel scared? How would you feel in this instance? And what's your honest opinion? Oh. Essay set? I don't want this.
Oh, that's...
3 words. The police were wildin'. Like a boss. Police were wildin'. And this was like city police, right? City police have nothing going on. Ever. They get like someone a DUI if they're lucky on a day. Right? By all accounts, this should be like, finally, something's fucking happening. But no, they just don't give a shit. Are you starting a new island or why are you evicting people? City police prey on... No, they really do. But no, chat. Tara came back into the newsroom and she just was laughing. She was laughing about the whole situation. She had no fear. She was not shaken up about it at all. Not one bit.
Like she knew that was gonna happen at some point.
Exactly. She fucking came out Ric Flair's theme song. No. I nearly shat bricks cutting off traffic in front of cops once. You might say she was ruthless. It was she really did have that ruthless aggression, chat. That's crazy. Like, we literally texted her, and Tara texted us back, "Oh yeah, everything's fine. Smiley face, smiley face." She was not shaken at all. To put that into perspective, an hour ago, like 1 hour before this happened, she was getting bent up out of shape and stressed the fuck out because of a one-word text message from our fucking boss, right? She was stressing out over something so minor, and yet, in a situation like this, she just no-sells it. She has absolutely no fear on her face. I don't know how you do that, but more importantly, chat, I'm now scared of this coworker. I'm terrified of her. Because I don't know what kind of connection she's got. If she's coming back, we're up and coming NXT superstar.
I would be scared too.
They really were enhancement talent, or maybe you're not. You're arrested, or maybe you're not, dude. Ah, yes, we fucking love our Hoganisms here. It's just so insane to me, chat. Her name is too interesting to NXT. Chat. Yeah, I'm the new legacy guy for fucking Ari streams. I'm terrified of her now, chat. Like, if she fucking comes up to me and says, hey, am I good for today? I'm just gonna be like sweating bullets, right? I'm gonna just be like, yeah, sure, whatever you say. Whatever you say, Tara, just you know, how are your friends in the Force doing, you know? How are they doing? Are they out on patrol right now? And if so, where can I find them? Because, you know, I don't want to get in the way. I don't want to get in the way of their great service to our city. Terrifying Tara. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's the crazy story from work this week, chat. She told the cop she was busy saving the world. God, I was speechless for like a good solid 2 hours after that. Not like out of fear or anger, but just because I couldn't believe it, you know? I couldn't believe what had happened. But no, chat. And this right here's the funny part, right? I want you to take a guess what her fucking arrest warrant was for. I want you to take a guess. Given the context that I've given you so far about Tara, about this mystery woman who I've named Tara, what do you think the arrest warrant was for? Married iguanas? I mean, that would be interesting, but no. Also, I'm sorry if it makes it... I'm sorry if it sounds like I haven't given you much of a chance to Speak, Marshall. You're just
Nah,
being...
you're good. I'm like struggling with my face right now.
Oh, okay.
That sounds weird.
Oh, that's fine. Tax evasion, drug related, hit and run, all good guesses. But no. Her fucking arrest warrant was for failing to show up in court for speeding. So this isn't even her first time speeding, chat. It's not even her first time speeding since she moved to my city. Ever since she moved to my city, she's gotten pulled over 5 times by local officers for speeding. How she's not been ticketed yet is beyond me. OMG, it's her. She fucking knows what the dog is doing, chat. She is that girl. She's her. She's her, you know? She's the one that can see John Cena. She's the one that knows Victoria's Secret, and she's the one who knows what the dog is doing. She is her. I can't, chat. I don't know. She knows what the fox says. Ah! Oh no! I guess that's it for my shovel. But no, chat, that's the fun, work story from this week. Honestly, she knows the Muffin Man. She knows the Muffin Man. The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! When she knows where the Muffin Man lives. That's fucking awesome, though. Speed Racer's got nothing on her. No shit. She knows what the Rock... She smells what the Rock is cooking. Oh my god. She's the one that can kick out of the RKO. Need the metal Oh. First I need the flimsy shovel. She has George Wood's design document for a racing game all figured out. She knows how to avoid getting ticketed. That's so true though. That's so true.
I stopped bothering with crafting the shovel long ago because they're just so cheap to get into the shop.
Oh! Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you could get them in the shop. What can I craft, though? What have I got that I can craft? Iron wand. Bamboo wand. Shell wand.
It's just so you can have costumes.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I'm kind of wanting trash bags. A brick. Oh, chat. I want the brick oven. I want that brick oven, chat. You know I want it. She's gonna be in the next Fast and Furious movie. I do Wait, what do I deserve? The trash or the brick oven? Craft an iron wand to show your leadership of the cult. Want the brick oven. Yes, I do want the brick oven. I'll take the brick fucking oven. All done for now. It's made of abub. Ooh, what did I get? It's oven made of bricks. I wonder how my snowman's doing. Is he still here? No, my snowman's not here, chat.
Oh, he melted.
Melted?
Yeah, they melt.
What? It's still freezing cold outside. What do you mean it's melted?
The sunlight.
The sunlight got him. It is made of and infused of bricks. I love that. The sun is a deadly laser.
Pretty much. We all knew that.
When you think about it, it is very much the deadliest thing in our universe. It gives life, but if we were just a bit closer to it, we would be burned.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. Life's miraculous, chat. Anyways, I'm gonna place down a few things. I'm gonna get these fossils identified, and then we're gonna go evict. You're not gonna pay the rent? Well, that sounds like a them problem, honestly. Well, if I were in the town square, I really did put, like, a lot more effort into this than I thought I did. Wow. This is actually insane. Welcome to the island of stink. Life... and life with long necks is much more miraculous. It is, though. Big flying flag stink and green... Big flag flying stink and green letters. I don't even know what I was thinking of this back in the day. But I was... whatever it was, I was thinking with it. Whatever it was, I was cooking. I don't know what I was cooking, but I did it. I kind of want to change it now.
Oh yeah, it's Saturday, so he was there.
Mm-hmm. We're taking song requests around 6 p.m. Alright, well, I'll turn this off. Just let KK Slider do the fucking thing. Let's check this. Oh my god. Oh wow. It definitely has been a while since I played this. Wow. 3.5 years, chat. Is this the island of relevancy Paul Heyman was talking about? Wait, chat. Can we... You know what? That right there's the second time of the island of relevancy that we fucking, like, discussed here on the stream. We need to go into this room right now and have Isabel change the name to the island of relevancy. Hold on a second.
You can't change your island name.
No, you can't?
Nope, only the flag and tune.
Come on.
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Raw rolls on after this while I cry. Rigged! Rigged! Nintendo!
Just like you can't change your name.
The others and I decided that as our resident representative, you should be in charge of our ordinances. That's right, I'm gonna politic people off this island. This means you can enact or dismiss any ordinance to try and make life here on this land easier. You made me get Cheetos last night after stream, by the way. Ari, too. You could change the island tune. You know what? Chat, give me a second. We're gonna wait here. Wrath and Melody out here trying to make a communist society. Listen, No. This is not communism. I'm just... Listen. I don't want to say I'm being a straight-up fascist. But I am being someone that likes a specific type of people and wants everyone else that's not like them off my land. You know what? And I don't... And you know what? In this instance, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. I don't see that there's anything wrong with that.
Also, I have no control over the island. I'm just here to vibe.
That's very true. Melody is here to provide, other Marshall is here to provide some moral support.
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Exactly, it's speciesist. Welcome back to Raw. Now then. How can I help you today? Let's talk island evals, first off. So you're curious about the current image of this land? Right now, a 2-star rating. Listen, I don't know who the sick fucks are. Me or the Pob people. If you ask me, it's the Pob people. Not the hooved hombres. Y mujeres. Allow me to read an excerpt from the feedback that I gathered. Oh, I hate constructive criticism. I keep hearing all things should be in moderation, but an island's image is worth working hard for, ain't it? Well, me and my bro will be backing you up from the sidelines, rather from behind the scenes. So you better just do your best, capiche?
I forget who this is. I'm trying to remember who says this line.
The island's natural environment has a lot of potential. I've planted so many trees.
You gotta plant more flowers.
I gotta plant more flowers.
I have my rivers lined with flowers.
You know what? That sounds like a fantastic idea. I'm gonna do that. Let's get more greenery on this island by planting fruit and saplings. When it comes to tree varieties, we really should branch out. I have a fucking row that's just a bunch of fruit! It's just a bunch of fruit, Isabel! Have you not seen it? I'm sorry. I just can't resist such low- Oh my gosh. You're lucky I don't throw you off this island, too. But I need you. You're useful. And there you have it. Just let me know next time you'd like to hear the latest feedback. Can I help you with anything else? Isabel going through a lot of vocal gymnastics just to say your island sucks. The RAF is dumb. What do you mean the RAF is dumb? I mean, you're right, but what do you mean? You're right, but what do you mean? Anything specific you like to talk about? We'll change the island tune after once we get closer to the end, chat. We'll change it to Roman Reigns theme. I'll look up like a fucking tablature for it and we'll create it here on stream. So
what is your current island theme?
Wait. I made that myself.
That's cool.
It's
I have to mute.
Hold on. I want to change something here. Hold on. I'm gonna change something here actually with my current theme. I like that. Allow me to preview the tune you created. Oh, I love her. You know what? I'm glad I'm keeping you on the island. Now then, we'll start using it right away. I hope you enjoy hearing it when you're out and about. Oily astute ladies Bible thump? Really? What do you mean? What do you mean? Do you not like my tune? Hey, you want to listen to some tunes? Well, I just showed you some tunes. Not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna acknowledge that. What do you mean? What do you mean? Chat, what do you mean? What are you playing at? Check out the random words that the clip used to make its link. Oh. Oily, astute ladies Bible thump is apparently the link to the clip. That you know what? That right there is the title of your next local indie band. Oily, astute ladies Bible thump. Those are like the nicknames of all the members. You got Oily, Astute, Bible, and Thump. Those are all of their nicknames. And the lady signifies that they're all ladies. Playing out your snoot, you wiggly snoot nerd. Discuss a resident. Inform Isabel 3 people on the street don't have hooves. She just stares at you and is like, why is that? She fucking understands the mission. Is there a resident causing you trouble? Yes. Which resident has been troubling you? Chat. You know what? No. Melody. Or Marshall. You there, Marshall? I don't think he's there right now. Chat. I'm reporting my neighbor to the fucking authorities. There are no hooves, Mayor. Why have they not any hooves? Isabel understands the assignment. She does. Not Audie. I'm sorry, chat. Eventually, she needs to go. But, is she the one that's going? Right now. Audie, no. Audie, yes. Audio. Adios. But she's so slays. I know, but listen. She goes against my core values. Okay? She goes against the core values. Meringue stays. Alright? Chat. I'll tell you who gets to stay. Okay? We got Deirdre, Meringue, and Julian. Or rather, Meringue. Meringue is her fucking name. I'm dumb. We got Deirdre, Meringue, Julian. Those are the 3 that get to stay. Those are the 3 that get to stay. Meringue doesn't exist. It's not a name. I'm actually like awful, dude. But no, those are the 3 that get to stay. Everyone else, they gotta go. So chat, who goes first? We get some get Axel's goofy ass out of here, dog. Well, kick yourself out the island. That only happened with the revolution, brother. That only happened when the Paw Patrol forms and then kicks me off the island, you know? But I don't see that happening anytime soon. The Axeman. Alright. Axel's off the island. What about Axel's behavior is upsetting you? The way he talks. I'm sorry to hear Axel has been polite when speaking to you. Would you like me to talk with Axel and do what I can to put a stop to this behavior? Yes, please. Say no more. I'll have a stern talk with Axel about appropriate language on the island. I found that my cheery disposition can be quite intimidating in certain contexts. Ah, Isabel gets it! Isabel gets it! Looks like a combination of a special doll and a dumpling. Paw Patrol rocks, TBH. The way they talk? Yes. The way they talk. And you know what? It's not just the way he talks. Really said Axel got no mic skills. Vlum. The way he dresses also pisses me off. He also pisses me off with how he dresses. Yes. I mean, really, they're all giving me trouble. Isabel wears fake hooves to fit in. Along with Nook. Here. A fucking hoovlum. Ah, Stufin. Hello, hello. We're gonna go ahead and make the town beautiful for all of our hooved residents here. What should I do? Indeed. What should I do about all of this? Seriously, this game has the option to unilaterally report your neighbors. What kind of secret police state is this? It's not even a joke. Raph, smash or pass Animal Crossing characters win. You know, I'd feel better about that than I would Pokemon, honestly. I feel better about that than I would Pokemon, frankly. What should I do, just in general? Mr. Tom Nook, can you give me advice about how to kick out any resident that doesn't have hooves? And then he just stares like blankly at me. And he's like, what did you just say? He fucking gives me the Kurt Angle stare. And he's like, the fuck you said about me? I can't think of any more advice to give you, Stufin. You've accomplished so much. I am sure you can find your own ways of having fun and living your best life. Oh boy, aren't I just, Tom Nook? Don't you fucking know it? Oh, I know how to have some fun. About my home. Yeah, about my fucking home. Time to talk about your home, hmm? What shall we discuss? He just turns into Stone Cold going, what? Hooves, what? Paws, what? Stumps, what? I'll tell you how many feet those are. 3? 3? I want to expand. I hate to disappoint you, but I can't take expansion requests while you have an outstanding loan balance. The Nook stop anytime. Okay. What's this? What will you take? What the fuck is this here, chat? A cardboard box? Portable recorder player? Blue rubber flooring? Empty can? What do you do with all this here? Gonna tear down Paw People's homes. What? I'm gonna keep only hoofers around. What? Gonna keep drinking some beer in the town square. What? How many feet does 3 hoofs measure out to? 3? He just turns into Stone Cold going, what? What? 1 foot. Ah, 1 foot. What? 2 foot. What? 3 foot. What? That's 3 feet. If you smell what the Wrath is cooking. Okay, so So, if I go to ABD, what is this? Oh my god! Ah! Gotta go to my loan payment. I gotta pay from my savings. Give me just the full amount, dude. Full amount. Go and buy this fire hydrant. Oh, hell yeah! Hell yeah! I just realized, why is my raft picture pink? Why, you're lucky the moron doesn't charge interest. He knows what'll happen if he does. He'll be off this island in a heartbeat. Should I craft something using Tom Nook's workbench? Hell yeah, brother. We got the outdoor bath. Let's see. I kind of want to craft a manhole cover, chat. We're going to industrialize this bullshit. He'll be arrested under usury laws. He'll be arrested for encroaching on property that he shouldn't be on. Again, he's lucky he gets to be here. Dark wooden mosaic wall. You got the garbage heap flooring and garbage heap wall, chat. Woodland wall. Equipment? A leaf umbrella? And fucking... Let's see. Not gonna lie, chat. I want to find a recipe for, like, a white picket fence. I think that would be beast and cool and stuff. Old-fashioned wash tub. When they hear the quiet clop of a wolf at night, any paw people remaining are always looking over their shoulders. It's like Slaughterhouse. This whole island is just like Slaughterhouse. Smelly, stinky, smelly brain. I know you are, but what am... Listen. I know you are, but what am I? 3? Alright, chat. Now, before we pester, I'm gonna do something here, real quick. I know I said that like a few times so far. But... look at that, chat. We're installing plumbing! We're installing plumbing on the island! We're installing plumbing on this land! This land is your land, this land is my land, this land was made for you and me. You know, unless you have pause. Oh wait, no, that's a tiger beetle. I don't care about that. I don't give a shit about that. Manhole covers are no fun if you can't go into the sewer. I got +1 sewers. Come to this land. We have indoor plumbing. That's it. Alright, chat. I can't believe I gotta do this. But you know I gotta. You know I gotta. It's just... let's rip off the band-aid right now. Okay? Yeah, exactly. I hate everything about this guy. His clothes, his speech, his smile. We gotta do something about it, chat. Okay, how is he? Okay, after that, how's he moving? How's he moving around? Oh, he's peeved, dude! He's pissed! Unprotected net shots! You hit me with that thing, right? Come on, Stufin Wonk. Don't be like that. I told you! Count, you gotta count to 20. He's like avoiding me. What you doing, Stufin? Leave the island. Get out of here. That shot straight to the forehead, getting color. What's with you, Stufin? Do you really have something that important to tell me? Maybe. Well, I guess I could stop fuming. Anger's a good motivation for training sometimes, but I don't want to be angry all the time. No, I want you to be angry. I want you to be angry. If a battle screen suddenly popped up now, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'll be like that. I'm literally just bullying him! Get the fuck out of here! Go away! Hey Pinky, did you see what I just did back there? Did you see what I just did? If a battle screen suddenly popped up now, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Go home! Go away! Go away! Chat, something tells me that, something tells me that this is gonna be a little more effort than I think. Falling snowball. I'm sorry. Listen. Maybe there are more direct ways that we can make our point heard, chat. I'm sorry, man. It's gonna hurt me a lot more than it's gonna hurt you.
Ring around a long boy's neck, ladies and gentlemen. Step on up. Come on. Let's go. Hurry.
Ah, you suck.
Or maybe you didn't.
It's gonna hurt me way more than it's gonna hurt you. I forget how long it takes to get these villagers off the island, lol. No, I need to be, like, consistent with this. Ow! You know what? We'll go and do our thing, and then we'll check back in on our friend later. Ah, you got it, or maybe you didn't, brother. or maybe you didn't, brother. The Zodiac is my favorite ball liquor, dude. Throw times 10, 100% chance. There's a 100% chance that it hits every time. But with the giant ring, there's a 2% chance it hits every time. Do you see the math here? Do you see the math that goes into this?
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Raw rolls on after this. I have a lot of these. Do I, like, need any of these? Give me a second. What the? I was not ready for Ice Age. I was not ready for Ice Age, chat. Holy shit. Reminder that I'm a speedrun extraordinaire when it comes to this game. In fact, let's go ahead and check my records real quick. Ice Age 2 speedrun. Ice Age 2 The Meltdown speedrun. Oh no! No, chat! Chat, I hate to inform you. I am levels. What the? Ah, you got it. Or maybe you didn't, brother. What?
In Bart's Nightmare by
Why were two of them?
about this game is top notch.
Where were?
Maybe the play control,
Why were
which
two
could
of
use a
them?
little adjustment. The
Like,
game is virtually impossible
like
to beat,
activated?
making it overwhelmingly frustrating for younger players. Even older players will probably not win the game. Like
Dude,
all Bart
imagine.
games, the key to success is practice. The controls for the Bart
Om
Zone
nom nom.
are as
Oh,
follows.
excuse me, we're
Shoot
back, my
fireball,
dudes.
press
Hey,
right,
welcome back to Raw.
shoot
Dude,
left,
imagine
press
saying
up or
that
down,
everything
shoot
about
lasers
Bart's
straight ahead,
Nightmare
press
is
X.
top-notch,
To shoot
chat.
lasers at the railway, press A. To shoot lasers down,
Imagine,
press
for like a
B.
second.
To stand still, press left. Other hints. Try to get grape squishes.
Can you?
And in the bloodstream level,
Personally-
be sure to touch Slime and Joe whenever
Personally-
he appears to blow him up. Bottom line, good luck.
I don't know if
The
I
game is
can,
hard.
honestly.
If you've always wanted a Bart game but couldn't decide on which one, look no further than Bart's Nightmare.
I don't know if I could. But honestly, with how much that we fucking prop up gaming in the Clinton years, I'm surprised that we haven't found time to play some of his best games. Look no further, Stev. Should we play Bart's Nightmare as like a one-off chill stream at some point? I'm thinking that we do. Honestly. I'm thinking we do. Good Smile Company just announced Yakuza Like a Dragon. You know what? I like that. They announced Yakuza Like a Dragon, chat. Can you believe it? What the fuck? What's happening with Gitsy? Why are there like a whole bunch of them playing all at once? Hold on. Who's like redeeming all of these like at once? That's crazy. Is there anywhere to buy Bart's Nightmare? Gitsy? I only redeemed it once. If they make a Majima one, I'm buying that in a heartbeat. You know what? I would do the same, honestly. I don't want to hear him talk about Konami, okay? I don't want to hear that right now. I want to I want to get back to Eviction. That's what a multiple redeemer would say. Exactly. That is what the redeemer would say. So, let's see here. We got Mom's embroidery. We have a park clock. We got some fossils here that we need examined. I'll just go in here and get them examined, like, right now while we're thinking about it. While we're thinking about it, I'll go in here and do it. Mashima's one of my favorite Yakuza characters, based. I heard about it from the Good Smile Company's Instagram. Okay. You buy the Sumeri one in an instant. You fucking know it, brother. She is the best girl, okay? She is indeed the best girl. But no, Morning Keebs. I did not answer your question earlier. No, I'm not playing on a new what the hell? What? Huh? It's playing two of them at once! Hold on. I'm going to check this real quick. It's playing suddenly multiple Gitsy. Kojima! I think it's possessed. It might be. I'm going to deactivate this real quick. I'm going to deactivate this because this is actually annoying me. Bill Clinton and Doroids win. George Wood is haunting your computer. I think it is. I've never had it be like this before. This is insane. George Wood has hijacked the stream. You get two of them. You get two of them going at once. And suddenly it's unstoppable. It's Axel hacking you for trying to kick him out. Ah, no, Gitsy. He fucking knows my weakness. Listen, all he needs to do is play the Gex 2 one on repeat and then he wins. I'll leave the island, you know? But don't tell him that, okay? But don't tell him that, because then he'll know. We don't need him knowing that, I don't think. I think we're fine with him not knowing that little secret. Chat. We're fine with him not knowing that little secret. Oh no, a filthy feather person. Again, unfortunately, he is useful to me. So he stays. Oh yeah, that's right. I put like a little fucking fashion boutique here. Rather, I put like a little plaza right here. Chat. I think.
Hello, Mario.
That YouTube removed my DeviantArt link from my channel. LOL. Oh, that sucks. You alright, Marsh? It's like a really, really small, like, section here. I like this, though. I'm a big fan of this. Also, I'm mute because Phosphor is dying behind me and I have food. Alright. Well, you come back at any time. Oh, it's a snowflake. I'll chat. If that's how he's getting his revenge, then we'll just need to be more obnoxious with him, I think. We'll just need to be more... We'll need to be more obnoxious with our good friend Axel. Because if he is going to...
Like Illusion of Gaia, Earthbound
What the
can pack
fuck?
a load of hints if you need them. Earthbound is an easy
I turned it
RPG,
off!
But Nintendo wanted the game to be...
I turned it off! Is it just playing all of them? It's a haunted game. What's funny about the removal of my... Bro, what is happening? My right ear loved that one. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Hold on. I'm looking at my fucking action cues here. Inspect variables. Imagine knowing things. I don't know. The action history. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. I'm gonna have to look at, like, my fucking things here. Hi, Henry. I'm going to go ahead and, disable this. Wait, can I just pause it? Yes, I'm pausing that. That right there's getting paused, chat. You try and look into it in the graphic of George Wood's head with a pair of crossbones behind it. Yeah, like you can see it. It's like overriding itself. That's crazy. I broke my reactive. Look at Marshall's reactive chat. I was trying to change the image to my non-speaking animation, which was... Oh, okay. I'm gonna need to look into the technical side of this, chat, like, once we're... Yeah, like, the animation is really adorable, yes. Marshall's OC is very adorable, chat. That much is certain. That much we can say for certain. There is no technical issue about that. As one would say, that's not a bug, that's a feature. The Y2K bug came 24 years late, and it was George Wood. and it's a plank of wood right there. I know that there's a way in, like, StreamerBot to, like, look at, like, variables and kind of see, like, how things are working. I'm going to kind of do a deep dive into it after this stream, I think. To kind of figure this out, that way I can, like, quickly troubleshoot. Ow. Ugh. Dang it. Very, very, very mean of you, Marshall.
Like Illusion of Gaia, Earthbound comes packed with
Nothing beats a
cool, refreshing sip of water.
Earthbound is an easy RPG, but Nintendo wanted the game to be
I
easy,
paused
so
it,
provide
dude!
constant, uninterrupted fun. Earthbound has so many comic elements.
Signosis
that
offers
Nintendo
much the same
wanted
experience with
the
Formula
game to
One
never
racing.
cease.
In fact, the games are so similar that once again we question why this genre is so popular. We have yet to see any tracks that blow us out of our chairs. No huge loops, no gigantic ramp launches,
What is happening?
no driving through waterfalls, nothing imaginative. These games are supposed to be fun first
You know
and
what?
simulation
Fuck it.
second. Where's the creativity?
Have a whole bunch of
Why not
Gitsy
have
at
a
once,
game
chat.
where you have to find and drive to the hospital before your wife delivers her baby? Now that, rather than compete against other racers, you have to avoid getting arrested by keeping below
Step on up
the
and
speed
see
limit,
it.
obeying
Throw a
the
giant
rules,
ring around the hall, boys, neck, ladies and gentlemen. Step on up. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Hurry. Or maybe you didn't. You always have luck either way.
has nice topographic
Father, the voices. Make them stop.
Yeah! Take your gun out for the woods lure. There's a ring stuck on your head.
What the heck? There is so much Gitsy.
but this technology marks a new era. Crashes the programmers of Donkey Kong were able to stretch their creative minds by solving
Where is your god now?
the main idea of the story is that you're trying to get back bananas.
Alright.
What did I just come back to? Complete and utter insanity.
You'll encounter several scenarios that are extremely certainly destined for greatness. Cranky Kong, the
Chad, help me.
and also DK's grandfather.
Chad, can you please help me?
He thinks you need it. Hundreds of bonus
Nothing
levels
beats a
result in a
cool,
game that
refreshing
will
sip of
never
water.
again. The music also
Okay, I think we're coming
This is not
out the other
suitable for a
side.
son of a shepherd.
This is not suitable for a son of a shepherd.
Stereo system. Cranky Kong remembers music in the old days, but Donkey Kong is truly with the times, so to speak. His music is great for listening. Just pause the game to hear the music without the game's sound effects. Speaking of sound effects, you'll notice the quality of the echoes in the caves and Donkey Kong's ape noises. Donkey Kong Country is truly perfect. If you do not get this amazing new generation of Donkey Kong madness, you are stupid. Yes, I know, that's insulting, but it's also the truth. If you're a true video game fan, you will not hesitate in the slightest bit to buy this remarkable piece of video game history.
Chat. What the gap is fucking-ing? Just chat. I'm trying to let this play
Bottom
out,
line,
right?
Get it now. The graphics are an example of a revolution.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
The
Caught in a
challenge is high
landslide
because you must
of so
often
much
I'm not
Gitsy.
doing any of this, chat.
Any save point. The two-player game option.
Can someone like redeem Gitsy again so that we can just like override this, please? Holy fuck. Can someone please just fucking make this stop? Hold on. I'm going to enable it again. I need one of you to redeem it. Like right now. Do it right now. It's coming back.
I'm trying. I can't use it.
I'm trying to. I can't do it. I can't use my own redeem. What the fuck is happening? Unlike the McRib, this redeem isn't back for a limited time. Did you actually unpause it? Yes! Yes, I did! It just keeps playing the same ones, chat. It's like going down the line.
The classic multi-million-selling Super NES game Super Mario Kart.
It's like going down the line, chat.
Released by Nintendo in 1997 is Mario Kart 64. It combines the thrill of a racing game with signature Nintendo game graphics. In this case, it's a true feeling of racing a go-kart. As the kart skips,
It gives you a true feeling of racing a go-kart, chat.
around obstacles. Mario Kart 64 features a depth in graphics only available with Nintendo 64. Since racing games by their very nature move at blistering speeds, the other video game systems can't produce the graphics.
Chat! I found it! I found out what's happening.
In a most unrealistic fashion.
Usually I have Gitsy set to random,
Graphics is an unbelievable
but I think what's happening,
9.75 megahertz,
right?
compared to that of
What's
33.9
happening
megahertz for its
is
closest
that-
competitor. This is a game the whole family
Okay, good.
can play,
Okay, I found it.
since Mario
I figured it
Kart
out, chat.
64 uses the 4 controller ports on the front of the system.
Collision had the
It
most
features
obvious
split-screen
blade
play for
spot.
up to 4 players. The game also features a 60
I think I figured it out, chat.
arena mode and includes 8 characters from the world of Mario. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Mario, Bowser.
What was the
battling each
spot?
other in the wackiest racing game ever made. Mario Kart 64
What was the
is fun to
spot,
play, except when you're
Skulinski?
losing, but the challenge lasts for about a week. Only racing fanatics should pick it up.
My favorite part about this review is he spends so much fucking time going over how much he likes Mario Kart 64, and then he says, just pick it up for a weekend. Julia Hart hits Mark Briscoe with a massive nail. I mean, it's a nail, you know? She nailed it. She most certainly did. So chat, I figured it out, I think. We're gonna see if it sticks. Also, Marshall, I'm not over how fucking adorable your idol thing is. It's very cute. think I fixed it, chat. But we're gonna see. Yes? 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 No! Come on, man! Hold on, I'm gonna look... Hold on, I'm gonna do some research real quick.
The ape is back in his first action game ever,
The ape
Donkey Kong Country. What makes this
back.
game so remarkable is that it's the first game created with fully rendered graphics. What the heck is fully rendered? To put it in a nutshell, fully rendered means
It's
that
the fun that
characters
never
and all
ends.
other graphics were created by computer modeling from all sides and angles of the objects. Thus, animation is totally complete and uninhibited using any view of the object. The technology is not incredibly different than that which was used to create the dinosaurs of Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park or The Wonders of the Mask. One of the best examples of the 3D rendering in this game is the water level. The shark, also known as Chomps Jr., is an incredible sight. The animation of everything in the game, as well as all the backgrounds, were created with rendering techniques on the Silicon Graphics computers. This amazing new technology, discovered at Rare by Nintendo's Tony Harmon, will be the next standard in video game animation and graphics. This technology marks a new era. The programmers of Donkey Kong Country were able to stretch their creative minds since Donkey Kong doesn't have a particularly detailed history. The main idea of the story is that you're trying to get back the bananas that were stolen from your stockpile. Kong, Diddy are the main monkey characters, but throughout the travels on the island of Donkey Kong Country, you'll encounter several characters that are extremely diverse in personality. From an ostrich named Espresso to a rhino named Rambi, the game has endless thrills and is certainly destined for greatness. Cranky Kong, the star of the original game and also DK's grandfather, will give you advice throughout the game. He thinks you need it. Hundreds of bonus levels result in a game that will never be boring. The music also adds a lot to the game. Play it loud and stereo, dude. You can buy the music on CD from Nintendo if your Nintendo isn't hooked up to a stereo system. Cranky Kong remembers music in the old days, but Donkey Kong is truly with the times, so to speak. His music is great.
I'm doing some research right now, Chad. Just keep enjoying the great dulcet tones of Gitsy.
Donkey Kong's ape noises. Donkey Kong Country is truly perfect. If you do not get this amazing new generation of Donkey Kong madness, you are stupid. Yes, I know, that's insulting, but it's also the truth. If you're a true video game fan, you will not hesitate in the slightest bit to buy this remarkable piece of video game history. Bottom line, get it now. The graphics are an example of a revolution. Play control is very responsive and monkey feeling. The
monkey feeling, chat.
Because you must often pass several hard levels to reach Candy's save point. The two-player game option is awesome, since you can press A to let another player play. What's even cooler is the way the game lets the next player pick up where the last player died without interrupting gameplay. If you want the other player to play, just press A. These features and so much more make Donkey Kong Country the game of the decade.
George Wood refuses to leave. You are stupid, video, I know. Or maybe not, dude. Grandpa Kong, dude. You are stupid. You're stupid, Jack. Or maybe not, dude. What the fuck? It's like playing through all of them in succession, chat. Well, fuck. You want to watch some Gitsy?
One of the most graphically impressive titles ever to hit the Sony PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot is
Stone Cold entering himself into the Nintendo-verse.
Let's get the negatives out of the way. The gameplay is not as good as Mario 64.
The levels aren't as vast or expansive.
So Cold Steve Austin is entering himself into the Nintendoverse. What?
The game is nowhere near as fun as Mario, but it far surpasses Nintendo's mustachioed plumber in challenge. Now we get to the good stuff. Crash is, ironically, quite similar to Mario. Question mark blocks appear everywhere in the game. Common enemies include piranha plants and turtles. This is too much to be a coincidence. It's probably a nice little slap in the face to Nintendo, and if you've seen the Crash Bandicoot commercials, you'd probably agree. The slap is all in good fun, though. Sony has aggressively marketed its possible new mascot, but very tastefully. We've always wanted Nintendo to be just as dynamic, but their ads are like sticks in the mud. Crash's more mesmerizing levels are later in the game, but players will still be amazed by some of the earlier levels, like the trip down the river and the marathon run to get away from an Indiana Jones-ish boulder. We'll have more on this game in a later show, but the news here is simply that Crash is a good buy. You don't need to know anything more than that, at least not yet. Keep watching for
more hot-roaded action, chat. Indiana Jones-ish. Keep watching for more hot-roaded action. Fuck it, we're just gonna go through all of it, chat, I guess.
So what do you think Super Mario RPG is about?
Well,
Saving the princess?
you know,
Wrong.
Wrong.
At the beginning of the game, Bowser does kidnap the
How many is
famous lady
left,
in video games,
LMAO?
but you rescue her after a quick battle
After
on a
this
falling
one?
chandelier. Then a huge living sword named Smithy drops from
8.
the sky and smashes into Bowser's castle, throwing everyone outside.
The
princess
ads are a
and Bowser
welcome
lost,
break
and
from
you have to
George
find
Wood.
them. At an odd point in your quest, you actually join your enemy, Bowser,
Well,
and discover the princess in Booster's
George
tower.
Wood working
Who
like
the heck is
rent's
Booster?
due here.
Who knows?
You know
The
what? Let's go
princess
ahead and
is a
let him
feisty
collect
gal.
some rent,
She even
chat.
tricks Bowser into kissing Mario as a prank. Don't mess with the princess. She doesn't like to play games. But we like to play this one. Super Mario RPG is full of fun. The battle controls are the best of any RPG. Other Nintendo characters also have cameos. Donkey Kong appears in the jungle. Link from the Zelda games is found sleeping in one of the inns, and the 8-bit ancestor of Mario is found behind a curtain in Booster's tower. The 3D graphics of this game are outstanding. You will love this game. The only flaws are the poor hit detection outside of the battle screens and the low difficulty level. You'll beat this game in a week tops if you play a lot every day. Nevertheless, you have to play this game. So rent it, have a ball playing it, beat it, and return it. Mario is back on top.
Yeah, chat, I'm pretty... My car almost got hit in a police shit. No fucking shot! No way! Are you fine, though? Are you okay?
For the drink bar in Tadpole Pond. The last song is the hardest to play.
Also, welcome back to
The
Raw.
notes are rock
This
to
is
go.
now the George
Do,
Wood
re,
show for the
I
next
hope you're writing
like
this
20
down.
minutes.
Look closely
I
at the
hope
placement of the
I hope
tadpole
everyone
shown
is
here to see
ready.
where the notes go. Again,
Because
the notes are la-ti-do,
I think I fixed it
do,
for
re,
next
mi.
time.
We'll
But
leave
right
it up
now,
to the slow writers
Streamer
out
Bot
there.
is running it
Playing this
as if
game
I'm
will win
telling
you
it
the
to run
Soprano
every
card,
single
which will
Gitsy
allow
video.
you to buy the Caro
I'm
Caro
not.
colas at the drink
But
bar. These special colas restore
but
all
apparently
hit
there was a
points and
flaw in
magic
there.
points for your party. Some games really tick you off from time to time. Super Mario RPG is one of them. In one section of the game, you have to climb
This was going
vines
through a
reach
green
Nimbus
to get
Land,
zoomed
which is
at.
floating high in the
So
sky.
though, it's fucking...
Our game guy Tom
That is
Allen
very
was so
scary.
mad,
I'm
he almost broke his
I'm
controller
glad that you're
with
okay,
that.
Sol.
The play control in this area is awful, especially this jump right here. He's
Yeah,
still
chat,
trying
I'm
to
gonna
make
go
this
and
jump
take a
without
piss real
falling.
quick.
We'll have the ending to this otherwise
We're just
fun
gonna
video
have
in
to
a
let
future episode.
Wood
So keep
here
watching the show
have
for
his
more
moment,
coverage of that.
okay? We're gonna let George here have his moment because Streamer Bot says that he does. Don't you leave us with George Wood. Don't listen, I have to. I need to pee, okay? See you guys in a few minutes.
Resident
Suffer.
Evil 2 is definitely the devil of a game. It opens with exquisite full-motion video, violent full-motion video. Make that very violent full-motion video, complete with shots to the head and seizure-induced corpses. Resident Evil 2 has the same gameplay as the original. In that respect, the game's a disappointment, but no one, including
can't
us,
redeem it
will
anyways,
be
there's
able
no
to resist this
pause.
game. The gore is not the big draw here, at least not for us. It's the suspense, the eerie music,
the awesome full-motion video. We really get annoyed with having to shoot a zombie 10 times before it's actually dead. This kind of ridiculous crap really slows down the game, and we're forced to suffer this unrealistic gimmick every time we find a zombie. And that happens a lot. In fact, you usually find zombies hanging together in huge crowds, making the job even more difficult. People like to say,
okay, but genuinely, I'm gonna go and piss, and then we're just gonna put these into sleep mode here anytime that they come up for like the next 15 minutes. Okay? How's that sound, chat?
That no one should be without. It's no Tomb Raider, but we shouldn't expect it to be either.
We can get back to
We're just gonna have to put up with him for a few more minutes.
The horror mood like no other game ever made. The controls still have that watch where you're going, I overshot the doorway feel, but by now everyone's used to this style of control, so we're giving it a generous C. Everything else gets an A. Resident Evil 2 comes highly recommended. The Rugrats movie is a 2D side-scroller just like Mario. However, the challenge level is low, and the jumping control is awkward. When bouncing on balloons, you have to press the jump button long before you land on the balloon. Plus, the items have no tangible effect on gameplay, and the strong character development of the PlayStation title is sadly missing. If you want a great Rugrats game, try Rugrats Search for Reptar. In fact, we've been meaning to show you just how great the game is. To give you an idea of the outstanding level setups and strong characterization, sit back for a few minutes and enjoy some hilarious clips from the Rugrats PlayStation game. We'll be back with Gex.
Oh, that's better.
You look a little sick, Angelica. Ah! Ew. Let's go clean you up. I haven't golfed in ages. I'm taking the kids for ice cream, Deed. This is gonna be great.
Uncle Stu! Where's the ice cream?
At the end of this majestic golf course stands Ice Cream Mountain. That's where I'm gonna get a hole-in-one and win you kids so much ice cream, you'll be eating until you're grown-ups. So what if it's never been done before?
We just gotta get the balls in the holes, and we'll get a whole mountain of ice cream. If we all do some, we'll be done in no time.
Hiya, Sprouts. It's almost time for my potato salad.
Pop, don't.
Pop, you're scaring the children.
Potato salad sticks to my teeth, so I'm taking them out.
If you do, nobody else will be able to eat. Please, Pop, just stick to Jell-O molds.
This'll be our little secret, eh, Sprouts? I can't wait to sink my gums into that potato salad. What the? Ah! My teeth! That confounded dog stole my teeth! I can't play my trumpet without my teeth!
We got to get Grandpa's teeth back. I don't know, Tommy. The park's so big, we might not find him till we're grown-ups. Grandpa needs us, Chucky. Come on, we got to find Spike.
Towball number 1 is a shockingly inferior game. There, we've said it. Make no bones about it. Square's second fighting game released in the US and premier PlayStation title seems like a rust job of the worst kind. The graphics look unfinished, the tournament mode won't take too long to conquer, and the play control stinks. Most fighting games use the up button on the control pad for jumping, but Toe Ball uses L, which is
Chat.
an awkward button to begin
I'm
with
back.
and is hardly ever used in games.
We are
Your kicks
going
and
to
punches
continue
don't
on.
often connect
All
with
right.
the enemy when you're right in front of them. It's hard to move around.
How the fuck is this still going? Jesus. Okay.
I don't know.
Also, I paused.
help. I'm getting Twitter bots now.
Why? Hold on.
I don't know. They're just like liking all of my tweets related to me being sick for some reason.
That's weird. Hold on a second. Now the fuck I need to unpause. I need to unpause the redeems because I paused them in an attempt to, you know, not make this happen still. But now that we have figured out what is happening, I'm going to go ahead and resume it. Let's try that again, chat. What the fuck?
That was the wrong one.
I'm actually fucking beside myself right now. I'm beside myself.
That's what's happening? You're triggering a sound redeem.
And it's not doing anything.
Oh no.
It's not doing anything.
Did all of your sound redeems break?
All the redeems have broken.
Oh no. Gitsy has broke everything.
Suddenly I hate Gitsy.
Ah.
Suddenly, I'm not a fan of Gitsy, chat. I'm not the biggest fan anymore. How is it that in one fell swoop, we love Scuff, let's go. I hate it. I hate Scuff. I hate it so much. Ow. Well, at least that works. But that doesn't run through Gitsy. Gitsy is for the streets, for real. No kidding, brother. God damn it. Okay. You know what? I don't want to hear from you right now, George.
Wait, no. Why did it do it twice like that?
I don't know. I do not know. I do not know.
Why did it even start?
It started like 45 minutes ago when like Ashley redeemed this.
But and then like this time, how did it start this time?
Because I hate like explaining the technical side of this, but like what happened, right? I'll tell you what happened. The thing that happened is that StreamerBot, which is what I run this through, it was set up weird. And what I mean by that is that normally when I run Gitsy through it, it picks one video, right? And then it goes back to the game. But I guess the randomization aspect for it was turned off at some point. So now it's running all of them as if I'm telling it to like just play all of them back to back. So it's a technical error, and it's one that is now really fucking annoying me to the point where I'm just gonna do this. Yeah, like even the TTS thing is broken.
Oh no.
Even the TTS thing is broken. And now I'm actually like just incredibly peeved. I'm incredibly peeved. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. No, 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 no. Nope.
Homunculus is being a little rebel.
The homunculus is over this shit.
Father, where is the
Whoa,
madness?
hello.
I need the chaos.
Around a long boy's neck.
Okay.
Step on up. Come on, come on.
Holy
come on,
crap.
let's go,
It's
let's
time
go,
for a
hurry.
90 seconds minute Cheetos
Oh,
break,
it just
my
caught
dudes.
up. It all just caught up.
Maybe you just... You'll be $10 either way.
Ah!
Is it over? Is it over? Here, have some of
Spare
this.
serotonin, please.
You know what, Melody? If no one got me, I know you got me. Chat, are we still here? Are we all still here? If we're still here, blink twice. Because I need... I need the signs of life from you right now. George Wood has abused his privileges. I'm gonna do some technical stuff on this, right? And then we're gonna come back. Actually, I'm going back to the car chase. I don't need your bullshit right now, homunculus. I don't need your aura right now. I'm not feeling really sexy right now, alright? Actually, I'm going back to the car chase. Okay. So, for one thing, I'm probably wondering now if we even want to keep Gitsy after this.
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Welcome back to Raw, I suppose. But...
Welcome back. It's about to go on break.
No, it's not. We got 14 minutes left.
Why did it just say Cheeto break?
Give me back my fucking Animal Crossing! Give me it back. Oh my god, chat. So, genuine question. Do we want to keep Gitsy after
I'm your little
this?
rebel. I will do whatever I please.
Is that why you have so many Cheeto bags strewn across your room? Because you refuse to eat your vegetables like a good boy? I think that's,
Oh, why are there peaches on the ground?
there are like oranges on the ground.
Oh, those are oranges.
Yep. That's a good question. Why are there oranges on the ground?
I wish my island was oranges and not cherries.
Hit boy sexy. You know what? That sounds... that sounds phenomenal. That just sounds phenomenal, my friend. Cat, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little shaken right now. I'm okay. I'm okay, though. I'm fine. Alright. You know how you can make me feel better? By following the Twitch channel and subscribing to my YouTube, which you can find at the card right there, and joining the Discord, where we will continue watching My Little Pony Friendship is Magic tomorrow. We're watching Season 5 at the moment. It's been really fun. It's been really cool. We're also going to be doing a WrestleMania watch-along, an AEW Revolution watch-along.
I'll have you know I've collected my Cheeto bags into a crafted sculpture of foil, plastic and art. They are not strewn about.
Whatever you say. Whatever helps you sleep at night, brother. Maybe, I'll believe it when I see it. Maybe it's a sculpture. Or maybe it isn't, brother. I need to add more flowers, eh? Well, first...
It's a work in progress.
I see. Or maybe not, dude. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see your work of art. I need to do this now for like the remainder of the Gitsies that we have. We only have 2 more, chat. This one and the final one. Oh no, chat. After that, I'm not feeling all too amped up to fucking bully an elephant. But I'm
That's
gonna
the
try
war. Brother, you do realize I wrote Enter Sandman for Metallica, right, brother?
Wait. Homunculus. You're not trying to say that you're Hulk Hogan, are you? You're not trying to say that you're not trying to say that you're the brother of all brothers, right? Is there something that you need to tell me?
When it comes crashing down, and it hurts inside.
Yo, the 5 p.m. music, you bet. What happened to my thing?
Look in the DMs real quick.
What now? What now, Marsh?
Look in the DMs.
Okay. Show me Gitsy takeover with you. It came back online.
You gotta take a stand. It don't help to hide.
That's the funny thing. It's still paused, but it will give that fucking pop-up anyways.
Check it out. It does fucking nothing. No! Let me catch my bug. You robbed me of my fucking bug? George? Give me my bug. No! Ah! I don't know, Homunculus. You're not making a good case for yourself for not actually being Hulk Hogan, brother. That's some peak Hulk Hogan if I've ever seen it. I'm gonna like just go and sell my shit real quick. Well, actually, hold on. So how long does it usually take for a resident to like just leave the island altogether? Like, do I have to wait for another day?
Certainly not that guy dude HH kiss.
That's not the next lyric of the song. Certainly not that guy, dude. HH kiss. H. I'm a big fan of. What is this? We got Luna's bed here. Can I just like replace my own bed with it? Or
Yes, you can.
might do that. But first, what's this?
I was about to say, you could have put it in the kitchen. Oh, that's cute.
Come on.
Oh. If you want to, like, aim it better, you can press down on the D-pad.
Oh, this is like the fucking home
Press plus to go to the wall.
designer. What now? Oh.
Press plus to go to the wall. Fast forward. Why are you...
Den desk. Wait, is this like all the stuff I have? No way.
Sleep talking.
Huh?
Plus for sleep talking behind me.
No way.
If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide.
Y'all are just going through the theme song. I got the den chair, chat. What do you think about that? An outdoor bench. Got a garden lantern.
I
Retro
wonder if I have
stereo.
items to send you.
What now?
I said, I wonder if I have items to send you.
Let's go ahead and take Mom's embroidery. And let's,
I am a real American. Brother.
Fight for the rights of every raf.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
Rafts are cool, brother. Or maybe they're not, dude. They are. If Hulk Hogan thinks that, then he's just stupid. I don't think you and I are friended on Switch, are we? The street organ. Wait, can I just place a whole ass? What the? Oh! Oh, it's one of those! Can I just, like... I could just place this in my fucking home? Well, the Hulkster didn't fight for the rights of every man. Yeah, because he didn't fight for the rights of giraffes. What the fuck is wrong with him? I don't get him sometimes, chat.
You better not be putting fossils in the kitchen.
I'm not putting fossils anywhere except into the hands of the Nook brothers, in which they will put money into my bank account. Maybe. But no, I'm like realizing how much stuff I've got. Give me a second here. Because... oh, I have this here. I'm storing it.
Now buy my Postamania, or Ed Leslie's not going to change gimmicks. Dude.
Are they really still going through the theme song?
well, I think that they've already done like the main part of the theme song, and now they're just going into like Hoganisms. So, like talking about how Brutus the Barber Beefcake has like a bunch of gimmicks, and none of them really ever got popular besides Brutus. He was also the booty man.
Go ahead, son. What room are you going to put the training ring in, dude?
I love how the homunculus is just becoming Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I need to find the other parts of this. I need this. What now?
There's 4 parts, aren't there?
Yes.
Actually, there's technically 2 parts. You just get 2 of each part.
I need this more than anything, chat. I need this more than anything. Put this in storage. Anything? There's the apron. That's the hardest part of the ring, brother. Sure is.
If you're trying to put in a storage, I think you press Y.
Homunculus is a real American.
Sure is. So I need to hover over it, and I need to press, yep, Y to store.
It just poof.
Alright, so, let me see here. I feel like I have a table here that I can put. Do I?
Oh no, I haven't
I
been
have
on my
a
game in a
washing
while.
machine.
You. Oh, it was just one. Never mind.
Got the folding chair.
Homunculus is a real Lovecraftian.
When I'm not summoning Cthulhu, dude, I'm playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. Does this mean you're making paw wielders wrestle each other to the death? Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. What's this? Oh, that's base is what it is. I could use the shade floor. There you go. Wait, why is it blue? It's giving off like a blue light. I don't like that.
That's because the shade is blue.
Well, you know, it's Dava Dee Dava Die, and it needs to go and say
I also
goodbye
have
to
a
my
blue lamp.
pockets.
I also have the same blue lamp.
Ah. Well. So.
Why do we have 2 skeletons?
So kind of like go into my pockets and like put stuff into my house storage that way, or do I need to like?
I think if you click on it, it gives you an option.
Oh. Sure does. In storage. Essay set. Ew. Lame. What? No, no. I like my rug. I like my rug. Don't take away my rug.
Well, now you gotta move it again.
Just oof.
Yeah, you gotta be careful when you hit Y on something.
There you go. What happens when I turn on the TV? Ah, yes.
Oh yeah, every hour there's a different show.
I love wrestling. Pull the tournament winner stays on the island. Chat, you know what? I kind of want to do that now. I want to do that now, actually. I want to take, like... I want to take the 7... Rather, like, the 6 remaining people after we get Axel off the island and, like, put them into something to, like, battle to see, like, who fucking comes out on top and who stays on the island. We need to, like, put them into, like, Hell in a Cell or something and, like, make them wrestle. Or at least have, like, a surrogate fight for them. Southpaw Regional. You bet, brother. I did not know there was a new show every hour. Here.
It has its own schedule. I think I could, like, give the wiki link that shows every show that shows up. Is that tonight? I think that was it. There's a little alien thing that happens for 5 minutes on, I think, Friday or Saturday night at 3 a.m.
Animal Crossing Survivor. Survive This. Famous Cartoon Network show. Let's see here. I have a little music room in here. Again, like, I remember playing this, like, last week, and I was shocked over how much effort I put into things. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I certainly did it. You got a tool shelf? You know what? I'm not gonna lie, chat. I kind of want to have, like, a spice rack. No, I don't want to have a spice rack. What I want to have is a room where is a room that's dedicated to, like, wrestling and shit. I want to have a room that's, like, just like the wrestling ring. This is where I train, Jack. Or maybe it isn't, brother. This is killing me to not say this. Ishii would kill Orange Cassidy in his prime. Oh no, absolutely. Mini table. I'm sorry, Chad. This has turned into like a home designer segment now. So, you know what? We're gonna put on some nice music while we kind of navigate this part.
Do we have you added?
What?
I'm trying to figure out if I have you added.
You do not have me added.
On Animal Crossing? Oh no, one of my villagers.
I mean, that's the game, yeah, but like, listen. That's not how I'm approaching the game. But now, it is how I am approaching the game because I like this aspect, actually. I did not get it years ago, but now I do. I absolutely love this part. This is actually incredible. That was my angle, but maybe it's not, dude. Anyways, I need to appease Father Bezos. Thank you very much to everyone
It's
for
time
sticking
for a
around
90
so far.
seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Raw rolls on after this. And while that's going on, I'll go ahead and place my fan and the table that it will stand on. Aw, chat. It's so good. You see this? I dare not redeem Gitsy for the break. Do not do it. Gitsy's outlawed for tonight. Do not do it until I, like, go back into the lab and test it. Alright?
It's still disabled anyways.
Good. I'm gonna Jimmy Neutron this shit once once the stream is done. I'm gonna go back to the lab and I'm gonna fucking see what makes our old friend George Wood tick. Can I not set it down there? What? That sucks. Come on. Are you saying I
Om nom
can't...
nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Welcome back to Raw. Are you saying that I can't...
yeah, that's not a table item, is it?
It's a desk lamp, though. Like...
That's not a lamp. That's a fan.
Listen. My brain's fried, alright?
It gets you too much.
The Gitsy was too much, and now my brain is absolutely just knackered. It's completely just off the rails for me now. Wait. What if?
What is your first code? Does it really not want you to move it anywhere but the floor?
Let me see. I'm checking.
Nope.
This is well, this is actually worthless then. You know what? You know what though? I'm gonna do what I would do in real life in this instance though. I'm going to put it right in front of my bed. So that way. Oh my god, it really is what I would do in real life though. I would literally have like a fan there just like blowing air on me all night.
Yeah.
And to have some noise.
That's me too. I should probably take this Christmas tree down. It's not Christmas anymore.
Do you actually play this like more religiously?
Not as much as I used to.
Mm.
I just happened to be on during that time.
Grasshopper head model. Let's see it. That is horrifying. I hate that, actually.
Oh god.
This is fucking horrifying. It's American made. He's American made. So on and so forth. I know that was like really, really foul, but like I did it on purpose to be foul. He's American made. No, it is in fact to cool my knees. Corkboard.
To all my little Hulkamaniacs, say your prayers, take your vitamins and you will never go wrong.
Gotta eat your vitamins, brother. Or maybe you don't. I enjoy this version of Hulk Hogan that, like, he doesn't even, like, know what, like, truth or fiction is. I think we have to cancel the homunculus. The Hulkmunculus? That's his new name. That's his name. He is the Hulkmunculus. Really, all he needs now is the bandana and the fucking Fu Manchu. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna message the artist right now. I'm gonna message my friend Lumi Celestine right now. The one who made this. That's next level right there, brother. Or maybe it isn't, dude. Lumi, are you up to take another commission? This time for the homunculus. I sent it out. I sent it out. I'm keeping the artist fed, dude, and that's a fact, Jack. And that's
I'm
one
going
thing
to drop
I'm sure
the big
about,
leg
brother.
on chat. Watch out, brother.
That's incredible, though. You know what? Going off topic doesn't seem... It suddenly doesn't seem all that bad. You know? Suddenly it doesn't seem all that bad.
I missed my OC's birthday. Oops.
When is your OC's birthday?
January 22nd.
I mean... Oh! Oh. For some reason I thought it was still January. For a second. LMFAO, I pawned money into artists' pockets. You did! You really did you punned money into my fucking friends' pockets. Now that's based,
8 years
brother.
ago, I used offensive language during a conversation. It was unacceptable for me to have used that offensive language. There is no excuse for it, and I apologize.
Is that like his apology video? That's like the Hulkmunculus's apology video.
You should give me your friend code so I can give you items.
I'll give you my friend code after stream.
Damn.
Yeah. Which, we're almost
Okay.
done anyways. We got like 20 more
now.
minutes. What?
I think I have the rest of that ring.
Huh?
They kept giving it to me like back then.
Huh? Doc's friend code. I mean, what?
Or you can just find it on the app and just like copy paste it into the DMs. That way nobody has to see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, if Gitsy was working right now, we could just play, you know, an episode of Gitsy, and that's actually hilarious.
We love giving money to artists.
We do, yes. It was 8 years ago. It was a different time, dude. Different time, dude. Him answering the racial stuff is why is that listed as one of his best quotes. Where is the cat tree? Oh, the one that Henry ignores. Oh, what? The one I took outside and, like, just threw away? That's probably rotting in a landfill somewhere. On one hand, I'm glad we know. On the other hand, I wish it was a different video that leaked it. That literally just sounds like he's, like, making a YouTuber apology video, though. That's like Logan Paul-esque stuff. Which is funny, considering that Logan Paul is now a wrestler, and he actually did make an apology video, like years ago. Now, chat. Oh, fuck me. I didn't go in there and do the thing I wanted to do. And that's put the brick oven in. I got one more monculus I want to do, and then I'll shut up. Alright, go for it. Go for it. Also, I want to say thank you, everyone, for fucking being here. This has been an incredible night. And
despite all the chaos.
Despite all the chaos, and partly because of it, it has been an incredible night. I think one thing you gotta, like, learn to do as a streamer is just, like, embrace that shit will go wrong. You know?
Scuff is only part of it.
That... It's inevitable. To some extent.
It's not a stream if there isn't scuff.
Exactly. Wait, I got a coffee grinder? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I don't want this. I hate coffee. Now, where is that brick oven? Brick oven. There you are. Holy shit!
It's huge.
Wow!
Have to move some boxes around.
I got everything I ever wanted and I'll never give that back.
I got everything I ever wanted and I'll never give that back. You're fucking dealing with the X Factor. The first instance of low-key gay in WWE history. You know what? No. Sean Waltman just really loved his friends. And I feel like that's something that, you know, everyone could use a little more of in their lives. A little more love and appreciation from their friends. That's all anyone wants in life. Let's see here. I really have no need for an essay set, really.
But what if you want to write wrestling stories?
Good point. That's a very good point. That right there is what I will write Shining Wizard's backstory on. It's a very, that is a very, very good point. I'll go ahead and keep it. Is this a table item? Need to take off my clock real quick. Oh, you bet it is, dude.
I grab all of it.
Go ahead and, you know what? We'll put the switch on the ground here. We'll put the switch on the ground. And we'll put the scripture writing right there. In the world of Hogan being Metallica's bass player, I call that the biggest lie in wrestling history. Oh wait, X-Pac told Van Fleet or whatever his name is that he turned away Red Hot Chili Peppers for Uncle Crackers. I don't know why you would turn away Red Hot Chili Peppers in 1990 whatever, or like in 2000 when they were still in their prime. That sounds so unbelievable. Wow.
Wolfpack is back causing a mass destruction. Guess who's here? The bad boys of wrestling.
Yes.
Might wind up in a body bag. Because we do a little gaslighting. A little gaslighting here and there. A little deception over there. It's all good, dude. Anyways, I'm gonna go and sell my shit now, chat, finally. I'm gonna go and sell my shit now. I hope everyone has been having fun tonight, though, despite all of the weird shit that's been happening. Genuinely, I'm having a really, really, really good time, and I'm happy that y'all are here to share it with me. Also, Keeps, thank you for fucking joining the server. Really, really love that you're here, my friend. What the hell is this? Oh, I'm like looking at the Sumi enjoy. I am in fact a Sumi enjoyer. Hogan and his constant lawsuits against Napster. Isn't that? Oh, I get it. Yeah, because like, yeah, I get it.
I'm sorry, you say Sumi, and that's just the shortened version of one of my furry OC's names.
Well, you know what? I enjoy your OCs as well, my friend. But, in my context, I'm talking more about, like, a Persona character. So.
I know.
Oh. Oh yeah, that's right, chat. We need to redo the theme of the islands like Roman Reigns' theme. Simple wooden bed. I'm gonna go ahead and sell that. I don't really want it. Well, you know something mean. Well, you know something mean, Gene. And I can put like the stones and the snowflakes into my home for storage. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Head to mute again. We're starting sleep talking again.
Look at all the fine things you brought us today. Let's go. I want that, thank you very much. Oh, what's this? What's that? Ooh! Flame miles. I gotta tell you, baby, that life's been good to me. I don't really need this either. I already know bonfire. So chat, with how small these melodies are, we need to like pick out a part of Roman Reigns' theme to like attack here, right? Because we can't do like a whole measure of it. We can only do like a little bit. We can only do like a little bit of it because that is what we have room for. So, he wears that song's infectious thing. He wears the red flowers necklace thing. No, I know. Like I'm thinking of like I feel like his is so melodic that's hard to fit it well. Well, no, but there's like a main melody, you know? Like, if we listen to it. I'll go ahead and share this with with Marshall here too. But first, we gotta do it to him first. Hold on, chat.
Wait.
Give me a second. Fight music. Oh, wait, hold on. You know what? I'll go ahead and share like the sound that way. The way Marshall knows what the fuck we're doing here. A wild Roman Reigns has appeared. Not a wild slap nut. Mauled. Double J, Chef Jarrett. All right, my work is done. Listen, if he's not molding, then then it's not working. Rang. Did you know that a new lunar year starts today, Cupcake? Happy Lunar New Year.
Look, Rhino.
I love the strawberry rhino. Let's talk. Lunar New Year may not be as big of a deal here as Countdown was, but any day on this island is a good one. She's so adorable, though. Look at her. She's so cute, chat. Why the puppy Why the puppy playing Wonderwall?
I love your island flag.
Oh, stink. That's from the mind of 20-year-old Stev. I'm now 24. Yeah, exactly. And now I need to call it Stunk. Because pretty soon the stink of paws will no longer be on this island. And then the flag can officially be changed to Stunk. As in, it no longer stinks. Chat. So, like, what is this box for, Marshall? I forget.
Just a bunch of items just end up in that from throwaways.
Oh.
I usually don't mess with that box anymore. It's
Yeah,
always
because a lot of it
items.
is just, like, you know, garbage and bullshit.
Yep.
So. What's I gonna come in here to do? Oh yeah, I was gonna learn about ordinances, because I wanted to learn about those. And also because I want to get a new island theme. The Paw People had a good 4 years. Now they're out of here. Exactly. I just love the idea that Stufan woke up one day and said, dogs, cats, hate them. Can't stand them. Want to talk about ordinances for this land? Sure. At the moment, we don't have any ordinances in effect. Enacting an ordinance means a lot of paperwork. We'll need 20,000 bells as a collaboration and filing fee. Do you want to get started? What now?
I forgot it's expensive.
Like, can I at least see what we're gonna do first before I pay up? Or do I need to, like...
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, let's try it. Okay, good. Early bird ordinance. Bell boom ordinance. Beautiful island ordinance. West supposed to pitch in with weeding, watering flowers, and clearing trash from our waters. You know what? I like that.
I should probably do that. I have not put any ordinances on my island, but I knew about them existing.
Good. Not even wrestling cat? Must really hate cats. Listen, if we get the wrestling cat here, then there will be no match. That will be the one that stays, alright? Then there will be no match to figure out who fucking gets to stay. They stay. There will be no... dogs, whack. Cats, whack.
Elephant.
Elephants, whack. Hippos, whack. They don't got hooves either. They can also get out of here. I need to ask it now because if I don't, it's going to leave my brain. And it's bad. But I gotta say it before we go to break. In an island where everyone has hooves, would the wrestling cat be a minority? Anyways,
It's time for a 90 seconds minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Raw rolls on after this. Something to think about, chat. Or maybe don't. Don't think about it. Oh, there's also a wrestling... Wait, there's a wrestling bird as well? Oh my god. We're just making exceptions for everyone these days, huh?
I don't remember the wrestling bird.
I don't remember a wrestling bird either. I didn't even know that existed. Stinky the cat and Lucha the bird, yes. Aw, man, we gotta get Stinky on the island. You know what? With the flag outside, it's somewhere he can be proud of. You know?
Yeah.
It is the island of stink, and soon it will be stunk. Now, while that's happening, I'm gonna actually load up something. Roman Reigns theme song. I'm gonna go ahead and share this with you too, Marshall. That way you know what we're doing here. The song is so good. It's legit a final boss theme. It really does just like sound like something you would hear in Final Fantasy, though. They did a real good job on Roman's theme, even though
excuse me, we're
he's
back,
very
my dudes.
polarizing as a wrestler. The presentation for him is like down pat. Hey, welcome back to Raw. Well, no, but like, especially Roman here. Is this the one? Hell yeah. Oh, shit. Load. Load. This is like a theme that you listen to make you just get amped up. Yeah.
I realize that in order to actually use my shops, I have to go back.
So we're making an island theme out of this, chat. Right there. Like that main melody there. Like this right here. I feel like we can take like the end, or rather like the second half of that and make that into the island theme, right? Like the do 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 do, that right there. Roman forces the gym staff to play it on repeat. I would too. That shit is king. It's killer. That theme sounds like it needs Cole's voice saying some ridiculous number of days Roman is champion. I mean, with how long Roman's been champion, over like what is it now, 1,300 days? Yes, absolutely. And, you know, just, especially, like, with that ridiculous number, like, the theme just fits him even more, like, as time goes on. Makes him feel even more, like, fucking unstoppable. But anyways. Let's make a new island theme, chat. So, Colin. I'm getting my roommate over here.
Oh boy. Tell him I said hi.
Hello, chat. Hello. First off, Colin, my co-pilot for tonight, Marshall, says hi.
Hello, Marshall. Hope you're doing well. Tip my fedora to you.
Second off, we are changing the tune of my island here, and we are changing it to
Acknowledge
Roman
me,
Reigns
brother.
here. And we're making it the island of relevancy.
Bro.
And I'm thinking that we fucking like take the second half like of the main melody here.
Okay.
And make that like into the island theme, right?
Alright, I'm listening.
Like watch for like the piano to come in, right?
Okay.
Acknowledge me, brother.
Befitting. They're very befitting.
I'm thinking that the second half of that.
I agree. That's big up. Big ups.
Right, we're doing it then. We got roommates' approval. We're doing it.
It's incredible. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see the places you go.
Thank you for your service, Colin.
07.
All right. Now then, we need to find some tablature, chat.
Hello, Mario.
Hey, Fizzy, what's up? Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. Roman Reigns theme tab. Oh, no, that's the fucking 2016 one. That's not the one you want. Head of the table entrance. Can you play it again? I want to slap a coal line during it through homunculus. Sure. Do it while I find a tab.
(1,260 days as Universal Champion is the fourth longest world title reign in WWE history and the longest championship reign since 1988.
That is a coal line, yes. Also, I like how Marshall looks like that they're bobbing their head. Do it. Nine out of 10 coal line, no doubt. Okay, we're going to try this here. I am gonna use this from my guitarist memory. All right. I am taking this in as a former guitarist, and we're gonna try and fucking do this. All right. So, hold on a second. I got my homework here. We're gonna do it up, chat. Give me a second. So that's high E. So we got you can't do like sharp notes, chat. This might be a little tough. So we got E, E sharp, F. Wait. Hold on. Trying to think. Remember my fucking guitar stuff. E, F, F sharp, B, A. Okay. Hmm. Fuck. Okay. We got B and C, C sharp, D, D sharp. Ah, okay. I checked out a YouTube vid. They only did Rain's old theme. I know, that sucks. Oh, we're close though. Why are we actually close? Why are we close? No. Hmm. Do 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 do. Honestly, Chai, I think that's pretty close. Why is that close? Chat. It's kind of the same melody, but like the notes are a little weird. Do 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 do. Listen. Listen to it. I'm gonna take you back. It's do 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 do. Hold on. No, 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 I don't like that. It's close. Maybe play them side by side. But like one of them is like faster than the other. Let me check. It's almost like you play it at like 75% speed, right? In fact, here, let's try that. It actually is. That's actually sick as fuck, though. Damn, actually nailed the speed. I did, though. Like, we actually did a thing, chat. We did a cool thing there. Dude, we did a cool fucking thing there. We did such a cool thing. That's actually sick as hell. You know what? We're keeping it. Allow her to preview what we have created, chat. Acknowledge her. Acknowledge her. Honestly, sounds brilliant with the Duty Animal Crossing tune overlaid with the real one. Yeah, it's like it sounds good, doesn't it? God, we put so much time into this stupid bullshit. You know what that makes me feel like, chat? You know what that makes me feel like? Hold on, I need to get my emotes ready. You know what that makes me feel like? That's actually incredible. Exactly. That is fucking hype. What do you think about that, homunculus? What's your thoughts on what we just did there? Acknowledge me, Paw people. It does sound really with the Duty Animal Crossing tune overlaid with the real one.
No comment.
No comment? Well, you know what? I don't have any comment on you. I'm over here trying to hype you up for your sculpture, and yet you're over here and you're looking at my work and you take a giant shit on it. No comment, or maybe not, dude. It's top notch, or maybe not, dude. Well, chat, I feel like winding us down with a little bit of fishing. First, I'm gonna show this off.
Don't give me that sass. I can only multitask so much.
I get it. Constructing a grand Cheetos tower. It's a daunting endeavor. Count on the Hulkmunculus to not put you over. Exactly. He'll never do the job.
Blood is thicker than new blood, dude.
Fun bee indeed. Come on. Blood is thicker than wood, chat. Just like the Dudley Boys said back in 1964. Blood is thicker than George Wood. Actually, yes.
The Hulkmunculus has creative control and you know it, brother.
But is he better than me? And do I know it? No! No, chat! It's Bash at the beach, dude. Chat, I don't want to get rid of Pinky. Look at her. Look at her, though!
You know the rules.
I do. I do. I do. Oh. No, I need to! I need to do what is necessary for the prosperity of the island. Let me add, what do you think? Who do you think says bro bruv more, Osprey or Russo? Let me add Riddle as well. I think Russo, most def. Well, actually, no. I would probably say Will Osprey, definitely. Because he's British, you see. Osprey speaks in bruv. He speaks in British. We don't like him. Aww. I think if Russo doesn't say bro once per minute, he'll start choking. God, though, you're right. You're so right, though. I cannot argue with that. I can't even try to argue with that. Wow, it's a snowflake. Anyways, I'm going to go and hit some rocks real quick. And then we'll call it a night, chat. Honestly, I think that this has been a very successful night on our parts. We have infuriated one of our primary targets in the quest to cleanse this land. And we've and you know, we have given the homunculus a new lease on life. George would manage to get his shit in. Hopefully he won't get as much shit in next time, but we'll see. And you know, that's another one. Hold on. Oh, what? Hey. It's actually great. We got a table to be head of. Exactly. Yo, you look like you're having fun. Lunar New Year is today. The last Lunar New Year feels like it just happened. Wow, time flies. It does, doesn't it? The old embrace of time comes for everyone, Deirdre. The Roman Reigns theme coming out of whatever the heck that was incredible. That was incredible. I want to hear all the instruments coming out of them now. Everybody's all smiley because of the Lunar New Year. I'm always smiley. So today, I'm extra smiley. Pastamania. Okay, so chat, question. Is there like a Hulk Hogan cookbook? And if so, is it called Pastamania? Yes. Chat, do I need to put that onto my throne? Do I need to find that and put it on my throne? And if so, would you want to see me like do a cooking stream with it or something? Welcome to the island of relevancy. Fuck. My light tilted over. We just keep running into each other today, Shortcake. As long as you call it the spaghetti. Alright, well, it does seem like I do need to put it on my throne. I need to make my throne live. Honestly. Look at her in her tracksuit! Chat, look at her in her big tracksuit. I don't want to get rid of her, chat. But I need to. I need to do it. Oh, it was a WWE cookbook, yeah. I've wanted to, like, do cooking streams for, like, a while. But I've just never, like, gone around to it. Hey, fucker, I mean friend. Let's see here. Hogan did, however, make a Japanese album. Oh, did he do it like in the 400 days that he has every year? That he gains when he goes to and from Japan? He had a restaurant called Pasta Mania, I see. 465 days, brother. How does one even become like that? It's about half a Roman reign. No, I mean, like, at this point, it's like a third, honestly. I gotta make the better fishing rod. Because I want to do a bit of fishing, and then we'll sign off, chat. Again, I appreciate everyone that's, like, stuck around for, like, this long, especially. The hours were longer, dude. It's like my streams, they're longer. In a sense.
I mean, this is the Long Boy Club.
This is the Long Boy Club. This is the Long Boy stream. It's on brand, if anything. Oh, wait, what's that? What's that? George Wood did turn it into a 12-hour subathon. I do have an idea for a subathon, though. I don't want to share it just yet, because I'm still kind of, like, figuring things out with it. Stream forever! Clap, 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 clap. Well, you know I would if I could. Unfortunately, we must bring things to an end after I catch some fish. I just want to, like... I want to fish long enough to where, like, I know that we're not going to get anything new. Because I don't think I've played, like, long enough in the... Hogan streamed 400 days out of the month, dude! Or maybe he didn't, brother. You know what, Marshall? I appreciate you being here as well. I appreciate the company while I go about my business here.
Mm.
I hope you've been having fun as well.
Yeah, I've been, like, clearing up all these extra flowers on my island.
Stinky and Lucha are welcome on the island. Or maybe they're not, dude. Oh! I caught a dab, huh? Ah, that was a big one too. Shit. Didn't do anything Hogan didn't pre-plan in the back of the American Train store. That's fucked up. No, I don't want to go into the airport. I don't want to go into the airport. I don't want to fly anywhere. Though I do want to friend Marshall. So, you know what, chat? I think we're good for the night, honestly. I think we're all good for the night. Again, thank you all for hanging out tonight. This has been so much fun. It's been a barrel of old good laughs, but I'm ready to get up. W stream, thank you for having me. Well, thank you for fucking choosing to be here, because, you know, it's ultimately you that's like giving me, you know, the fucking time of day, especially on a Saturday night. Like, you could be doing anything. Thank you for not going insane, Steph. Oh, don't worry. I go insane every stream, but I always come out the other side, and that's largely thanks to all of y'all. Don't remind me my life's boring. Listen, it's not my intention, but You're the one that's saying it yourself. So,
No, no worry, mine's also boring.
if anything, go make it exciting. Go make it exciting. Stop watching me.
Wow.
What? Stop watching me. Go do something worthwhile. Go spend 500 days in Japan a year, brother. Exactly. But yeah, let's raid someone. Let's go ahead and let's raid my good old friend Toad again. He's playing Paper Mario right now. Go almost get hit by a police car. Don't do that, or maybe not, dude. Again, thanks everyone, and thank you to Marsh for hanging out with me all this time. Again, I appreciate it.
It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I'm suffering over here in the corner.
Well, you know what? At least you could suffer with the rest of us. Long Boy Club Raid. There you go. It's right there. Go and copy the raid message there. If you haven't done so already, I would appreciate you following the channel, joining the server, and where we do a lot of community nights. We will be doing a lot of fun things over there, and you will get a notice whenever like I post a new short, whenever I go live, whenever I post a new video, so on and so forth. And follow me on all my shit. Let me find my card here. Social. Or oops, sorry. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Melody. And yeah, I forgot my own commands. I will not forget to say thank you one more time though. And as always, I'll see you in the server, and if I don't, I will see you in the next stream. Bye.